Hello, hi, good evening, everyone. And today is about the China's secret gold empire, Shandong Mine, which there's, we're kind of looking at some themes here, and I'm trying to work out strategies, for example, and investment strategies. And Elon Musk, supply chain, and also Warren Buffett's billion-dollar, strategies that he uses for making decisions when it comes to investing. And Warren Buffett, as we all know, or majority of you know, how he really is good at finance, absolutely exceptional. And I read his book, which was the Snowball Effect, for example, and amazing book. If you haven't had time to read it, I would highly suggest that you do read that as well. And also, today's video is about China's secret gold strategy, which is the Shandong Mine and the global wealth shift that's happening. So welcome back, everyone, to our 10-part series and uncovering the wealthiest gold and silver mines in the world. And I'm just naming a few, the top 10, for example, my decision, for example. So we've already explored, for example, South Africa, and also we've explored the USA yesterday, and in most, how can I say this? It can be quite secretive, but also they are powerful nations in the world. So China and their Shandong gold mines, it's a symbol of economic strength, hidden strategy, and possibly global financial control. So do you think that China is hoarding gold for a reason? They've been buying gold for years, and it's not new. I mean, America and everyone else is just suddenly rushing to buy these gold and silver, for example, but they've been doing this for a number of years, for quite some time. So could the Shandong mine be part of a long-term plan to really devalue the dollar, for example? So before I start, I hope that you enjoy this video, and I'd love for you to watch this to the end. I would love for you to like and subscribe. Comment as well. Tell me what you think. Do you think that they're hoarding gold? And what reason could that possibly be, for example? So I'm going to go into what is the Shandong Gold Mine, for example. It's located in the Shandong province. The mine is one of Asia's largest gold producing regions, and it was discovered in 2017, which wasn't really that long, really. It contains an estimated reserve of over 1,500 tons of gold, worth tens of billions of dollars. And it's operated by the Shandong Gold Group, a state-backed enterprise tightly controlled by the Chinese government. So join me for the trip to China, where we're going to discuss this gold mine. So this isn't just a mine, it's a geopolitical asset. Now imagine, right, you got the map of China and zoom into where Shandong is. You'll see the mine from an aerial view, for example. So gold extraction and China's controlled production. So this gold is extracted using modern open pit and underground mining techniques. China is one of the number one gold producing countries in the world, and Shandong leads really they're kind of like the leaders, and they're leading this change and seem to be in charge of this. But China really exports its gold. All mined gold is often kept within the national borders. So that means every ounce of gold for Shandong is likely staying in China. So the possibility for a bigger financial strategy. Now, think about the gold hoarding strategy. Is this fact or is it fiction that we're hearing about with regards to the China Central Bank? Has it quietly been buying gold for over a decade? We don't know this. We can only guess. Estimates say over 30,000 tons of gold may be stored there, much more than officially reported. So, analysts, they do believe that China wants to reduce the dependence on the US dollar by backing its currency with real assets like gold. So there's a conspiracy angle here though. So the conspiracy that we hear, for example, is could China be using mines like the Shandong to quietly prepare for a new gold-backed digital currency? Do you think that China is secretly preparing to dominate global finance with gold? I'd love to see your comments in the chat, for example. But why does it matter to the world, for example? China's gold hoarding could cause a major shift in global power. Think about that the gold becomes backed while the dollar weakens, for example. Global investors may rush to China's currency, destabilizing other economies. Mines like Shandong are key tools in silent financial war. This isn't just about mining, it's about money, power, and the future of trade, according to experts. So what do you think? I'd love to hear your comments, for example, your thoughts in the comments here. So what next for this Shandong Gold Mine? Because this is a series where I'm talking about gold mines around the world, because it's about looking at where gold and silver and where they are stored and how they're mined and where they are in the world. So this mine is expanding its operations and it's acquiring other global assets too. So Shandong Gold recently tried to acquire mines in Argentina, Ghana, and Canada, for example. So China wants to own more gold producing sites globally, not just at home. So this could mean that China is building a global gold network while the world sleeps. So do you think that gold will decide who controls the world next economy, for example? Drop your thoughts in the comments here. So just to recap, China's Shandong Mine is one of the richest in the world, and its gold is likely part of a much bigger strategy to shift global power. So could gold be backed and track money return, for example? Could China challenge the US dollar using mines like this? Comment below if you think gold will be more powerful than ever in the next decade. Drop a comment in the chat, because this is a 10-part series and I am taking you to different mines around the world. So don't miss the next day's tomorrow's live, for example, where we head over to the Russia massive Olympiada mine, uncovering its secrets and gold strategy in the heart of Siberia, for example. So if you are looking to buy gold and silver, always look at speaking to a reputable company. For example, I will drop some links here, for example, but also seek financial advice, because I am not a financial advisor. I'm just here to talk about and educate regarding the different types of mines and what type of gold and silver, what's happening in the marketplace. I'm not an investor, so like I said, seek legal advice. So what I'd love for you to do though is to subscribe and turn on your notifications for the next episode of the Wealthiest Minds. But what I want to talk to you also about is we've got two things here, okay? In the China Shandong Gold Mine, this is like one of the world's wealthiest gold and silver mines. It's got hidden fortunes and untapped riches, for example. So with this, one of the aspects of this is that they are quietly building possibly a gold empire to potentially challenge the US dollar, as I've said, to dominate the global finance. Now, Warren Buffett has invested in some aspects of China regarding the financial system. But also, what about Musk? How does China factor into long-term silver and battery supply chain for Elon Musk, sorry. So think about and look at the economic and the political connections between these billionaires and how they interact with China's resources and dominance, for example. So let's think about the strategy that is being used, whether Warren Buffett ever invested in the Chinese gold or the financial assets. How Elon Musk relies on China's supply for silver, lithium, and rare materials. Why China really exports its gold, and what that means for the global currency. So let's go to the billionaire connections, shall we? So through Buffett, although he's largely avoided direct investments in China gold sector, he has invested in Chinese companies in the past, such as BYD, a major electronic car company signaling strategic interest in industrial power. Now, let's also look at, he invested in Barrick Gold in 2020, making this decision very timely at the time. Now let's talk about Elon Musk. So we've got Tesla, Shanghai, for example, relies heavily on China's supply chain for silver, rare earth, and battery materials. So Elon Musk, if China limits silver exports, it could create a critical choke point for Tesla and global tech infrastructure. So what do you think about the two connections with Warren Buffett talks about he'd rather invest in a business that is growing, for example, like he's done with Coca-Cola, for example. He'd rather invest in businesses that produce, for example, like industrial type of thing. So could he possibly be interested in the gold mines? But also he is interested in the companies that rely on the supplies from these mines, for example, to produce a product, for example. Elon Musk relies on these mines to build the electronic vehicles, for example, the batteries. So can you imagine who would be most at risk here? Do you think it would be Elon Musk, because he needs as much silver as possible to create the electronic vehicles, for example? Or do you think it would be Warren Buffett? Now, I know from researching with Warren Buffett, he moves with what he feels is relevant at the time. So he's always watching and scanning and analyzing. So it really doesn't really affect him in that way, because he is able to check the markets and get rid of things quickly, and it's not going to affect the rest of his business, for example. Whereas with this silver mines, for example, for Elon Musk, it could end up being a critical choke point for Tesla, for example, production and global tech infrastructure. So this is the reason why I wanted to bring to your attention that sometimes when we're looking at gold and silver, what is the meanings behind why people want this, for example? So this is a short video, and I will put the links here as well, but do stay tuned, because tomorrow we are going to look at the Russia gold mines and its hidden Siberian vaults, which should be very interesting for you, because it's good to understand about different golds and silver, and also where it comes from. So do you think that China gold reserves are bigger than what they claim? Is Elon Musk too reliant on China metals? So that's it for today regarding the Shandong Gold Mine, one of the richest gold mines in Asia, and also how Elon Musk needs to expand he needs to find these suppliers, because he is the buyer and he's going to need that in order to continue, for example. So Warren Buffett in China, he does and has done investments in China. He's also looking at the aspect of not purchasing the gold, but the companies that are needing the gold and silver, for example. He's more interested in the production side, the companies that can create the products to sell, for example. Whereas Elon Musk needs it for manufacturing purposes. So there's different ways that this is being seen as a commodity to be used, for example. So let me know in the comments what you think about the gold mine that I've just explained to you, because with regards to the China Shandong Gold Mine, it is a very good investment for China, for example, but also they've built so people say that they've built a secret gold empire. And it could be a possibility that Elon Musk is the provider. The mine is supplying, but Elon Musk is using the metals, for example, to produce the electronic vehicles for manufacturing purposes. So Buffett's billion-dollar bet is that he likes to look at these different aspects. He doesn't just stick with one thing. He's looking to really build something strong, but also it doesn't just rely on one thing. He's relying on, even though he's a billionaire, for example, Elon Musk and Warren Buffett, for example, they both have different types of businesses, but also the reason why they're using and doing different things to become the billionaires that they are. For Warren Buffett, he thinks highly at long lengths and really studies things. He doesn't rush. He makes sure that it's the right time. He buys at the right price, and then he will sell when he needs to. Whereas with Elon Musk, he is leveraging on tech and also the industry side of things. Whereas Warren Buffett, billion-dollar bets is to do with finance, focused audience, trending investors. That's what he's looking for. Something that's going to produce without him putting in the hard work, apart from the funds, for example. So I'd love to hear your comments in the chat about what you think about China's gold hoard. Do you think that they're hoarding their gold? Shandong Mine? What is Elon Musk's risk? Also, what is Warren Buffett's strategy? Because Warren Buffett is highly intelligent. They've been around for a very long time. They've watched the market. They've watched the waves and the ups and the downs, and it's like they know when's the time to sell, when is the time to buy, and what is the reason. They're not just shooting from the hip. They've got a plan, they've got a strategy. Like how he sold quite a lot of his shares to do with the Berkshire, for example. So there's a plan happening, but we just don't know when Warren Buffett's going to strike. So, do you think that China is holding gold in the Shandong Mine? Do you think it's a secret? Why is Warren Buffett and Elon Musk involved in buying? Well, for example, Warren Buffett has put shares into a company, for example, that is China, for example. Elon Musk is also interested in the production side because he needs it for vehicles as well as AI and other aspects. So maybe there could be a power play on Elon Musk's side. I'm just saying, for example. Let me know what you think in the comments here, because Warren Buffett, he is a renowned investor and a CEO of Berkshire Hathaway, and he has consistently emphasized the importance of investing in productive assets such as businesses, real estate, and farms that generate income and have the potential for growth. We've all seen it where he's purchased a furniture store, for example, from, there's a very old furniture store and it's done extremely well. But I believe he's sold that now. So the contrast here is that the non-productive assets like physical gold, which for him, it doesn't produce the earnings and dividends that he's looking for at a sharper rate, for example. But in 2011, Berkshire Hathaway shareholders, Buffett, elaborated on this perspective, explaining that productive assets not only generate income, but also have the potential to appreciate over time. He's in it for the long haul. He's not in it for a get-rich-quick scheme. Same as with gold and silver. It is a long-term plan. It's not an instant plan. You got to hold on to it. Just like with Warren Buffett, he brought that 3,500 tons of silver. So let's look at this more closely, shall we? So he's looking for the potential for it to appreciate over time. Thereby is offering a compounding effect on wealth. Conversely, he views gold as an asset that is not as productive as when he purchases these items, these businesses, for example. So he brought the silver, like I said, the 3,500 tons of silver, because he knows that the silver is a long haul game. He's not in things for a quick fix. So Buffett's investment philosophy centers on acquiring assets that provide tangible returns through their productive use. So this approach aligns with his broader strategy of value investing. So he focuses on the intrinsic value and earning potential of an asset rather than speculative appreciation. So, what is your understanding of Buffett's views regarding gold and silver? I would love to hear your thoughts on this. We know that Elon Musk, he needs the silver, for example, to be able to produce more vehicles, electronic vehicles, for example, AI, renewable energy, for example. Warren Buffett did, in the second quarter of 2020, acquired approximately 20.9 million shares of Barrick Gold Corporation. It was valued at around 563.5 million. And this move was unexpected by Buffett's. So even though previously he wasn't really interested that much in gold, this made him think that, hey, I need to get some of this gold and silver, for example. Although he thought and saw it as a non-productive asset. However, the fourth quarter in 2020, Berkshire Hathaway, they did de-invest its entire stake in Barrick Gold Marketing. And this was in the gold mining sector, which is a bit different from buying gold bars. So, silver investment. Buffett in 1997 purchased 129.7 million ounces of silver. So this was amounting to one of the largest private holdings of metal at that time. So this investment was based on his assessment of silver supply and demand fundamentals rather than the interest in silver mining companies. So Buffett has traditionally favored investments in businesses that generate consistent cash flow, which may explain his limited exposure to the mining sector. And I wanted to share that part with you. So Buffett's gold mining investment was done in 2020 with Barrick Gold, and it was in the second quarter, and it was valued at the time 563 million. And it did surprise investors because Buffett had he wasn't really keen on gold. He saw it as non-productive. However, he saw that this could be an advantage for the company, for example. They also sold a majority of the gold stake, and they was able to get quite a lot of money for that as well. So let's look at the investment. It was made by one of the portfolio managers, it says here. And why is this such a big deal? It's a big deal because we've got to look at the gold mines, where this gold coins and silver and gold bars are coming from, because we are going to be able to use that as a monetary system. It won't just be sitting there. You can use it as when the time comes when you need to use it. So think about that. You can profit from a gold producing business And that fitted in with Warren Buffett's philosophy of investing in the productive enterprises. So, yes, Buffett brought into gold mining sector via Barrick Gold, for example, but he didn't buy the physical gold, he invested in the mining sector. So when you're looking at this, Elon Musk and all the other electronic vehicle companies, they need the mining to produce their products. And really this is the, getting to the bottom of it is that they need the mines to produce their products so that they can make a revenue, obviously. So with regards to Warren Buffett, in 2008, Berkshire Hathaway invested $230 million to acquire a stake in the shares of the BYD, a leading Chinese manufacturer of electronic cars and batteries. So this investment has been highly successful, with the value of Berkshire's stake increasing significantly over the years. And recent developments in 2022, Berkshire began reducing its holdings in the BYD by June 2024, and its stake had decreased to less than 6%. The investment period for investing in PetroChina, but sold the stake before the steep drop in oil prices became the beginning of summer 2008. See, with Warren Buffett, he analyzes, and although he buys and puts a lot of money into things, he also knows the right time to sell, for example. Holds on to it until it is sold, for example. So the gold mines in China is also wanting to purchase gold mines outside of China. So when you're thinking of investing in gold and silver, I just want you to have a really good understanding of that this needs to be something that you start doing now, for example, and then you hold on to it for 5-10 years. With regards to Warren Buffett, he's kept things for a number of years, for example. He doesn't just buy and sell straight away unless there's something immediately that needs to be done, for example. But he's always looking at things long term, because he knows that there's a curve. He knows that there's an up and down stage, for example, and he will continue with that. So I'd love to know your comments regarding this, about the investments that's been happening in China, for example. Why are billionaires investing in China? Because of their businesses that they've got that is producing, and it's also earning them income at a higher rate, for example. So what do you think the reasons why they're possibly looking at that? Like seeing if they can invest in a company that is to do with mining for silver or gold, for example. Because this is how they look at things, they look beyond the bigger picture of just purchasing a gold or silver bar or coin, for example. Although they have done that. I mean, Elon Musk has even said that the silver coin, for example, and the gold coins, etc., is stronger than the dollar. There's no doubt about that. So this is the reason why we need to start looking at this if we haven't done it already. A lot of you have started already, but some of you may not have done. And it's something that we need to really start looking at. The silver at the moment, $35 for an ounce, a silver coin, for example. Start with that. One a month, for example. I'm going to put some links here of some reputable companies, for example. But like I said, I'm not a financial advisor, and if you need financial advice, and seek financial advice on investments, etc. But I also am here to help you to look at your portfolio and to build your portfolio to produce wealth, and to also think in different ways. Because yes, there's stocks which are crashing right now, but there's also stocks that aren't crashing right now. And Warren Buffett is looking at the ones that aren't crashing right now, that are stable, for example. So just think about that. There's the gold and silver, the physical product. For me, you cannot beat that. But there's also the stocks and shares, which haven't been affected and that's still stable. And if you're in it for the long term, then you will know that you're not going to just crash and burn, for example. But you need to seek professional advice, like a financial investor, for example. Okay, so thank you so much, everyone. I hope that you've enjoyed today's live regarding the Chinese gold empire, the Shandong Mine, and why Elon Musk is involved in this supply chain. Why do you think that is? And also Warren Buffett, his methodology of what he is doing. He's got the physical products, don't get me wrong, with the gold and silver, for example, but he's also invested in companies that is going to produce money, and is invested in companies in China that is to do with gold, for example. So I hope that you've enjoyed this discussion this evening, and do like and subscribe, and join me tomorrow for my next live video, which I'm going to be going live at 7 p.m. UK time, and that is 2 p.m. American time. And I look forward to discussing with you the mine in Russia. Alright, so join me as we travel around the world looking at all the different mines, gold and silver mines, and what they offer, and also to see how much value that they are, for example. Alright, so thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope that you've had a wonderful evening, and I look forward to speaking with you tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Thank you. Bye.